Hello and welcome to Aerospace Rocketry's YouTube channel, where we specialize in the hobby of high-powered rocketry, drones, and other fun stuff. Like and subscribe, I really appreciate it. It helps out the channel. Hope you like our next video. Got a new project going. By the way, welcome to Aerospace Rocketry, another video from us. I am working on a new project. You guys may have seen my launch of the Falcon 9. Well, without going into too much detail, I decided to do another Elon Musk rocket. This is going to be a 1/48th scale Starship. We're going to do a two-stage booster and Starship. And definitely going to be challenging. Never done a two-stage before, but we have everything down on paper already, and we started construction. And of course, we always work from the rear on up. So what we have so far is we are going to do a 75mm motor mount. And if you guys remember from my Falcon 9, I use bells, literally bells, to create the Merlin engines on the Falcon 9. We're using clear fins. These are now covered with newspaper so that they don't get nicked or smeared. Because they're clear, we want them as clean as possible, so I always cover those. Now, the way we hook these fins up, these are clear plexiglass fins, 3/16, I believe, thickness. I use these on the Falcon 9. They work perfect. They didn't flutter. They didn't come off. Nothing happened. What we did was I glued these down initially with JB Weld. That's good against heat, against the motor tube. JB Weld is really good overall. So that got me started with the initial. But you'll see in some of the pictures that I'm going to post is I drilled holes in the lower part of each fin, and the epoxy flowed through the holes and over to the other side. That really gave this some great adhesion, because epoxy doesn't stick very well to plexiglass, but this is roughed up really heavy duty with sandpaper. And you can also see how thick I did the epoxy on these. These are not going anywhere, especially because the epoxy flowed through the holes, and then we put another layer on the other side. So these things are like locked in. They're not going anywhere. So we have like I said, 75mm motor mount. We got 3 rings, and what I do is most of the rings come in 1/4 inch now, but I like to double up on them and make them up to a 1/2 inch. And the reason is because my rail buttons, I want to mount them directly into this, and it gives a little bit more stability on the rail buttons by going into a thicker piece of engine ring here, motor mount ring. And then we have the motor retainer ring, 75mm, that we're using in the back. Okay, this is part of the booster. My son-in-law is coming by today. He wants to be more involved in this project, which I'm really happy for. It gets me actually very excited that he's going to be part of this. So, as you can see, this is prepped with fiberglass tubing, tied really extremely tight on both ends, over a phenolic tube. And we're going to be glassing this tube today. So between the two of us, we should be able to glass this up pretty good. Once this is completely soaked, we're going to wrap it in the non-stick cellophane type plastic and try to work out all the bubbles so we have a nice clean finish and no sanding. Every Rocketeer knows that sanding is that's what we live for, right? So we can eliminate some of that sanding is really good. This is the lower part of the booster for the Starship. And then there's going to be another piece that we're going to glass that'll house our electronics. It'll house our parachute and electronics for the staging part. And then we have the Starship that will go on top. So I already have the Starship nose cone 3D printed. It came out really nice. But we'll get to that as we work our way up. Like I said, we build from the bottom down. So once this is done, we're going to slot this for the fins. And then we're going to insert that piece that I just showed you right up inside this. And then we're going to have our electronics bay next in line, which is on its way right now from Lock Precision. And looking forward to getting that in the mail very shortly, so we can get some electronics set up too. That's what we got. As you saw in the earlier video, we glassed this tube. When we wrapped it in the Mylar, we had a couple of high spots, so I had to really sand it down. Very smooth right now. And we're about to cut the slots for our fins. I put two layers of masking tape. It helps keep the blade straight. We're using a DeWalt with a light jigsaw. Very stable, works real well. And I know a lot of you guys use Dremel, but I'm not real good with a Dremel, especially with the cutting wheel. So I'm using a jigsaw. It's nice and straight, and we're going to cut out the 4 fins here. And let me drop this a little bit, and we're going to get started. Alright, now as with everything, it's not a perfect cut, but I do have a spare piece of plexiglass that we're using for fins. So what we want to do is make sure that slides in. What we want to make sure is that we're not pushing the slots out. We want to make sure that there's a natural opening and we're not expanding this because the slot is not big enough. So when I put this in, it slides in real good, but there is a spot, it's a little bit off, which is pushing that out. So it's right here. I'm just going to trim that just a little bit more. It's like where it came off of off the line a little bit. We'll give this a shot again. Pretty good, actually. Right where it should be. A little bit tight. So again, that's expanding that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some heavy grade sandpaper. I'm going to run in that and just open it up a little bit. So give me 1 second. So I use the pretty much 60 or rougher sandpaper. Takes it down pretty quick. And if you just fold it in 2 or 4, you just run it along the slot. Just get the slot even wherever you got a high spot. So I've got another one right here. So we'll take that right there. And you can see, you know, if you have a high spot, I mean, it's pretty visible. Where your cut may have been off a little bit. So we're gonna try this again. Yeah, you see how nice and smooth that was? It just kind of fit right in. And it didn't expand it at all. We have a little bit here we need to do. I can see where I was off a little bit with the saw. Take that down. Yeah, that's nice. It's looking nice and straight now. Let's try this one more time. Actually, it's going to go in here. Perfect. See how nice that went in? We're still expanding this just a little bit. So I'm going to take just a little bit more off. Right here. Make sure you keep it even. See that? No pressure at all. These don't open up, so there's no low spot. Pushing this out. We want to make sure that it's even across the board, and that's pretty nice right there. Taking a little bit more off. And then that'll slide right in. Perfect. And it can just kind of fall in there by itself. That's really what you want. Nice and loose. And that'll glue right to the motor. Alright. So we got 3 others to cut. And I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And then I'll get back with you.